Hey, this is Joe, and I'm excited to share with you probably one of my favorite videos that I've done. I recently got a chance to interview one of my superstar clients, Tim, who's in the shipping industry. And when we had met, maybe about 2 years ago, he had listened to one of my podcasts and we connected online. He was doing about 100 calls a day in what we call the smiling and dialing. And since then, we've done some work together. He is like absolutely coachable. So he's the ideal client for me because he's taken ideas and he's run with them. He's made them his own. And the cool thing is he went from doing about 100 calls a day to now maybe around 30, as he explains in the video, and he's 5 times his revenue, going from where he was frustrated with his job, not wanting to maybe stay there any longer, to being top in his industry and being a leader on his team and really loving his job again. So it's exciting for me to share this with you. And Tim's gonna share some of his tips, his strategies, ways that he's making this happen. And if there's one video that I have up until now that is one of my favorites, this is the one that I would recommend if you're trying to figure out how to take your career to the next level or your teams. What's going on, man? I haven't talked to you for a while. I was watching some Playbook Project clips. I've been clipping some stuff out, and I was missing you, man.
Dude, I know it's been a long time, man. I've definitely put a lot of the stuff to use that you've been giving me, and things are going really, really well.
Nice.
We definitely we just got word that we broke into the there's this magazine called Transportation Topics.
Okay.
And it's a really credible magazine in the transportation world. And every year they come up with the top 100 brokers. So there's 16,000 brokers in the United States, and we just broke into the top 100. We're number 87. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome, man. Very cool.
So,
how's the team doing? You got is it all similar guys? Who's still there that I would know?
But my team's good. We just added 2 new people to my actual team, so I got a team of 7 now, and so things are going really, really good. And I'm just kind of starting to fine tune all the processes that we kind of worked on with that contact strategy. Started working on a few new things, using testimonials, doing videos. That's gonna be a big push for Q2 is cool. Incorporating like videos and all that type of stuff.
And when you say incorporating videos, what are you guys gonna be doing?
Well, obviously you saw those videos that we made.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. But I'm gonna start to kind of incorporate my own videos, kind of like what we talked about.
Yep.
It's gonna be one of my contact strategies. It's gonna be one of the things I'm gonna be testing out on like my maybe like second or third email. Put a video on there. Yeah. What else have we been doing? Yeah, and it's kind of more so working at the demographics we're going after and just testing new stuff. Hey, that contact strategy stuff we worked on is awesome. And then that book you put together, it was just, I think that was great. That was awesome.
The contact strategy one?
Yeah.
Good.
It was nice to actually have all that stuff like right then and there, and like, you know, kind of how it breaks everything out, and then even the bad emails on the back. That was really good.
Cool. Well, I mean, most of the stuff, the examples are what you're doing. So
It was just, you know, kind of on when we would do our Google meetings, you know, it was kind of the information was kind of all over the place for me. I'm so like ADD.
Yeah.
And when you kind of actually put it all together, where you know you had the index and how everything's broken out, it made it for some reason it started clicking for me.
Cool. And that's kind of what you know, I was going back through a lot of the stuff that I've been putting together, and so this is why I'm doing a big content push myself, is so that I can have people do more of the pre-work and say, here's the stuff that I'm doing, and they map it out. Then we can do more coaching on the stuff that they put together versus like the training and saying, here's what you need to learn. Then you guys go and apply it and come back. And I find that's way more beneficial for you guys, is to be able to help you actually work through something you're putting together than, you know, here's an idea you can try. So you have a team of 7 then?
So so I'm pretty much over a team of about 2, 4, about a team of 7. So we got 3 sales reps, well, including me. Well, no, actually there's 3. There's John, Heather, and David. Yeah. And then we got Scott, who's our head account manager, Jenny, who's our head ops person, Sarah Johnson, who just started, Monica, who just started, and then Ian Nunick, and then Zenaida. So we actually might have more than 7. So yeah, we got a pretty big team. It's just we're all kind of involved with a lot of the visual pack company stuff, so we all kind of oversee everything and just make sure everything's going smooth.
And when did you officially go into the management side?
Right, I think like kind of like Q1. I'm not like I've been here for so long, and I just kind of have a good understanding of a lot of the visual pack stuff. So that's kind of why I'm managing this group of people. Yeah. But I'm not necessarily like held to their numbers, you know. I'm just there for support with specific support and kind of handle higher level situations and kind of guide them through certain things. But I'm still more so kind of helping Gene out with kind of managing the sales team a little bit as well, because that's kind of something I want to do in the future, I think.
Gotcha.
So we're kind of slowly but surely getting involved with that, but I'm still more so doing sales most of the time.
Gotcha. So you're kind of like a team lead right now, and then kind of working towards sort of a bigger role as you move forward. Yeah.
Yeah. So I enjoy working with people. So I think that's something I want to do in the future. The hustle, the constant grind can kind of wear you on a little bit. But I enjoy helping people out with ideas and kind of new tactics to get things. I love going to see customers and stuff. So that's the part of the business I really enjoy doing.
Cool, man. And how are your, because I was just trying to think, like, because your numbers are always pretty solid. So the fear for them would be to pull you out of doing that and have you do anything else, right?
Yeah, that was the biggest concern, especially because in Q1, they definitely didn't want to do that because, it's always been me and Sean. But we got a couple other sales reps that are doing pretty good. And I'm kind of, there's parts of me that does want to do the management role, and then parts of me that still want to stick with the sales side of it. Because now that we finally have a fully operational team where everyone knows exactly what they're held accountable to and they know exactly what their tasks are, I kind of want to see where the whole sales thing will go, because I think I'm confident that I can take it to another level.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, do you have some pretty good goals this year of like what you want to see happen, and what does that look like for next year for you then?
Yeah, we got some pretty big goals. My big thing is my big goal is to break into 100,000 GP per month. I definitely want to close 2 more, 500 million plus revenue companies. I want to get on the road at least 2 days a week. So I got some hefty goals, but I think they're definitely attainable.
Yeah, and if you're thinking about doing on the road a couple of days a week, then that video stuff is going to definitely help you. On the personal branding side, is to let that go ahead of you, so that when you're reaching out to people, it's almost like you're a bit of a micro celebrity by the time you get there, right? They're like, oh, that's the guy that's been sending us that cool stuff. Right? Cool. That's
and then a big thing on LinkedIn is I got that LinkedIn Premium, and I see how much traction I get when I put stuff up on LinkedIn, or just like a post about the industry or just cool little positive things like that. So big thing is going to try to do like I want to do like at least 3 posts a week related to the industry, not like, industry related issues, some funny stuff, some positive stuff, just get my name out there for the personal branding.
Totally.
It's crazy how people will look at your stuff when I was just posting a few things about, this market's crazy right now. So it's a really good time to kind of start selling, because everybody in the industry needs help.
Yeah.
So when you start posting that stuff on LinkedIn, it's crazy to see all the traction you get from it.
Yeah. I think LinkedIn's a good spot for you too, eh?
Yeah, definitely. It's a great spot for us.
Very cool. Yeah, I find that, the more I post, like I've been doing a big video push this year, and LinkedIn is where I get, like, I put it on YouTube. I get a little bit more viewers on YouTube, more viewers on Facebook, more subscribers on YouTube, but then more comments and people interacting on LinkedIn. So that's kind of what I've been learning with my stuff is LinkedIn, especially for like what we do. Like, I'm not looking to do big YouTube star, but really find out where my clients are living. And so the same thing for you is, I think if you have that content, you do some videos, do some posts, I think you'd really rock it there on LinkedIn for sure.
Yeah, LinkedIn's definitely a good one for us. I've done some stuff, on like Snapchat, Instagram, and it's more so I think a lot of, I don't necessarily know with what we're doing, if like Snapchat, LinkedIn, and like Facebook, but I just don't know if like Instagram is the spot to go. I think LinkedIn's more for professionals, and I think for what we're trying to accomplish, it's a better platform.
Cool, man. Cool. That's fun.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get out and go visit some people and show up and be like, give me some money. I like it.
Oh, we're trying to. My big thing is I want to get out to Seattle again. So me and Sean are going to try to plan a trip out to Seattle in the next few months, go see a few people, which isn't too far from you, my friend.
Let me know if you guys are coming out this way, Seattle. Either I can meet you in Seattle, or you guys come over to Victoria. Come hang out with me for a day.
Well, I don't know how. I would love to go to Victoria. I don't know how hard it is with getting across with like we got our passports and stuff, but I don't know if it's a big pain in the ass or not.
It's easy, man.
Okay, well,
yeah, but it's if you got passports, you're fine. And there's a ferry that comes right across from Seattle. But like I said, I'm happy to come meet you guys maybe in Seattle or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah, because there's a few customers that Sean has in Seattle, and there's a few customers that I'm trying to get, like Jones Soda. So we're trying to set up a trip in the next, hopefully hopefully by the end of Q2, we'll be out there.
Nice. Well, let me know for sure. We'll see if we can work some out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Definitely be cool.
Cool, brother. So yeah, one of the big reasons I want to chat with you is because like I've been redoing a lot of my stuff, and I've always used your name and all the stuff when I talk to people about. I'm like, can I tell you a story about a guy who there's only a handful of people out there that are like intrinsically motivated to go and kick some ass. And you're like one of those few people. I'm like, let me tell you about Tim. This is what this guy's been doing. And, no matter what gets thrown at him, like he reached out to me when we, way back when we did the Sales Hero Academy. And then you're like, let's do coaching. Then we did it. And then you connected me with the business. And then they're like, let's end it. And you're like, I'm keep going. And then the Playbook Project. And so just like, you're like, just like the kind of like, that's how like, I'm like, that's who I want to connect with, people like you. And the fact that you're moving more into these other roles, and you've been really applying this stuff, just a bit at a time over the last little while, and seeing, like where, what sort of where your mind's at. That's kind of what I wanted to capture from you today is really get sort of just kind of interview you on that, is sort of where, what your journey's been like, not just with me, but just your sales journey, and what things you find are important, because there's a lot of people out there that are like you, that are like, I'm not sure what I need to do. And just your story is really important to help them sort of wrap their mind around this shit. Plus, I'm kind of looking testimonial wise, like this is kind of cool shit that we've done and how it's helped you, and maybe some specific on the numbers. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for you for today in the next like 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey. I was talking to Jess about it last night, from like where we started off to where we're at now. Yeah. And it's crazy. Yeah, it's cool. I'd be more than happy to help out any way possible.
Cool. So tell me your story. Tell me sort of what your journey's been like in sales.
Well, dude, like when I found your what was it? It was your podcast, right? It was your podcast, your
That's
Sales
right.
Heroes. I was really struggling because we never had any coaching in my company, and it was just more so sink or swim. I never had any formal coaching, and I was trying to find somebody that I could connect with, that I really resonated with. And people always talk about Grant Cardone, and I just kind of thought he's like a used car salesman type of dude. I connect with the guy whatsoever. And then one of my old managers, she gave me a link to something about not being a salesy weirdo, and it was your podcast. And then the next thing I know, I think there was like 14 of them, and I listened to all 14 of them in like 3 days. It totally connected.
I didn't know that.
yeah, I listened to all of them, and that was the whole thing. And I remember I was sitting in my old apartment, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna, because you said on your podcast, if you ever wanted to reach out to, if you ever need help, reach out to me, just shoot me an email. So I told my girlfriend at the time, I was like, I'm just gonna reach out and see what happens. But I doubt he's gonna get back to me, but you never know. And then sure as shit, you got back to me like the next day, and it was just really exciting because your podcast just talked to me and connected with me in a way that no one ever else really kind of connected. It's about not being a salesy weirdo, being yourself, making it fun, trying to really make that connection with your customers. And it was just could have been at a more perfect time, because in that certain point of my career, I was kind of thinking about maybe doing something different, because I was just trying to run through a brick wall the same way. And when I started listening to your podcast, it started giving me new creative ways to kind of get around that brick wall. And that's just kind of where we started from there. And at that, I was just kind of lucky on a few accounts that I stumbled by. And then after we started working with each other, and then all of a sudden people started getting back to me, people started asking me for advice, and you just started kind of putting my foundation one brick at a time to kind of build that beautiful palace I guess I'm kind of living in right now.
Yeah. And I think, it was cool. Like, we chatted a bit, and we did, what did we do? We did like a quick call about sort of like your business, and we just chatted about stuff, and, we didn't move forward at that point. But I think that was really, like we dove into your stuff right away. And I think that's something that, like I know I do all the time with new people. And I think that's what you do as well, is you want to just go help people figure out the business later. And then, you brought me in, I met the rest of the team. And, I think, the cool thing about going and working with you guys as a team is to see sort of the difference between how you apply things and then how other people apply things. because, you know, it's easy, like, because I sit in like training and stuff with people, and you can see who's switched on and who's struggling. And most people will make excuses why it doesn't work, but they don't go and put the time in to actually try something. And I think that's where the difference is you would come into these group sessions and like in your organization and say, you know, here's what I've been applying, here's how it's working, how are you guys doing with it? And it just like kind of crickets chirping because they've been too busy to apply it. And I think that, you know, maybe speak to that about sort of your mindset around, like, because whether it's working with me or not, I think if you grab onto an idea, you're going to run with it. Maybe talk about like what that looks like for somebody that, you know, is maybe trying to figure out what they need to do and how, you know, no matter who they're working with, that they need to do something about it, because that's something that you're really good at.
Yeah, the big thing was just, like you said, is grabbing one idea and running with it and building off of that. I know a lot of people can be so overwhelmed with when you have all these different concepts and all these different ideas. And I know a lot of people just didn't want to put the effort into where I would come in on a Saturday, or I would go home and, you know, sit there for a few hours here and there when I was just relaxing, or I'd record ideas on my phone. And this just taking that one idea and building off of that, and then making that particular, you know, taking that one idea, building off of it, and making it a really sharp tool in your arsenal, and then grasping another idea and then building off of that, versus trying to take the whole world on at one time. Because it's this, I look at it this way, it's, you know, we're going to live 60, 70 years. So there's this 1 week, this 2 weeks that I take to kind of perfect this one particular craft is such a small blip on the radar, where if you can, you know, perfect that one little thing right there and then build off of that within a year, you know, we've been talking for a couple of years now, within a year, 2 years, you have a full arsenal at your disposal that you can really kind of to build off of. So it was just more so, you know, building off of that first email that we sent out together, or building off and not being a salesy weirdo and just trying to take that one concept, or, you know, then building off of how we go on the LinkedIn profiles and try to use the terminology in the people's websites and people's profiles to kind of use that verbiage to kind of pull them into what we're trying to sell them and to kind of bring those services. So I think it's the biggest thing is just take it one step at a time and don't try to get overwhelmed with everything, and don't be afraid to fail. I think Thomas Edison said it himself, but I succeed. I failed my way to success. Yeah. Right. Don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as that you're trying a million different ways to do things, and eventually you're going to stumble upon the right way to do it. And then you get to move on to the next task at hand. So that was one thing I definitely separated me from the rest. And I think John as well, is that we weren't afraid to try things and to do different things, but it's about putting in the work and understanding that it's going to take time, and it's not going to happen overnight, but you got to put in the work. And after you put in that work, great things can happen.
That's cool, man. And you know what I like, you mentioned John too, because I've stolen that 8-minute coffee break thing that he, you know, like that. I tell everybody about that, because that's something that, you know, through, you know, just like that one idea that he landed on, that he ran with a little bit. And same thing for you, is that you would try one email and you'd say, this is how it's working. You'd come back, you'd retool it, and you would try one thing like 10 different ways until you're like, this is the way that it's going to work. And that's, you know, for me, just watching you do that, that's exciting for me, because I'm like, cool. Now we can try something else, or now we can make that better. So that, you know, and the cool thing is like I said, is you're in a unique set of group of people that I can see how there's a reason why you're succeeding in what you're doing. And part of it is like, you know, has nothing to do with, something to do with some of the stuff I've shown you, but like, you know, people that I've been working with for a while, the ones that are doing it the right way always come back to me with my own language. Right. So when you talk about salesy weirdo, you mentioned doing yourself future self a favor, all these things that we've talked about, you've made it part of your DNA, and now it becomes your stuff. And so the people that I find that don't do that, they're just kind of waiting. What's the next thing? What are you going to tell me today? And then they don't apply it. The fact that you go and apply it, you test it, you kind of make that your own, lets me know that you're actually making it part of your own DNA, and it moves away from my stuff to your stuff. And that's where I think, you know, like no matter what idea or concept that you wrap your mind around, you make it your own and you do something about it. So that's, you know, that's how I can identify really easily.
Well, also too, that I think the reason we make it our own is because it works. You know, if it didn't work, if I went out there and these things weren't working, I'm not going to put it into my repertoire, right? I'm like, I'm not going to keep trying to do this if it wasn't working. And that's such a big reason why I know John and myself have always like come back to this stuff, because it works. You know, people want to talk to cool people. People want to talk to people who are energetic, who care about helping people, who are themselves, versus putting that persona on that you're this awesome salesy guy, and it's just not the case. So if you actually are authentic and you try to be who you want to be a positive person, just be who you are, people are going to gravitate to you. And I think the reason we use that lingo so much is because it actually works. Cool. Another thing that's cool about John is that, we could shoot ideas off of each other, right? So John could try, this email 15 times, and I could try this email 15 times, and then we collaborate with it too. So that's another reason why I think it's worked for John and I so well, where, other people give two craps about it just because they don't want to put the time and effort into it. Yeah. And it helps when you have somebody else who you're on the same path with each other, and you're trying to do the same things, and you can shoot off ideas at one another.
That's very cool. Yeah.
But the stuff works.
Cool. What would be like, cause I'm trying to think about this for you here. What would be sort of cause when we first started chatting, I mean, you weren't, like, you've always been an awesome guy, but did you feel like, cause I was thinking about some of your emails and stuff, they were you're in that, not the weirdo phase, but like that formal phase of like, I want to say it the right way. What are some changes that you've made over the last, say, year or so, where you've found that you're becoming more uniquely you, and how is that resonating with your customers?
Well, I think the one thing too is the first thing is that you have to think you have to be so professional, right? Oh, I'm reaching out to this billion-dollar corporation and I got to be so professional, when that's not the case. You're reaching out to a person that has a life outside of work, right? That you've always talked about, who probably goes to see the concert every other weekend, or loves to take his kids to the baseball games, and they're a human being behind that, and that you need to connect with a human being. I think that was the first thing that realized that I can open up my shell and be who I am, and not be worried about what others think, and people are going to be drawn to that. And the biggest thing is the you conversation. Talk more about them. I like that was the aha moment, I think, within our conversations of when you're talking to people. Take 10 minutes to educate yourself about that person, about their business, about what they do, and talk about how you can help them, and stop talking about all these cool things that you can do, right? Like I said, what, 2 to 1 you to I ratio. So I think the more that we've talked about our customers, we got a new marketing woman who used to work for Southwest Airlines, and all this stuff that we've worked on that we've talked about. We need to make sure that when we're doing these pamphlets or reaching out to customers or doing these outreaches, that we talk about you, and how we can help them in certain scenarios. And that was by far the biggest thing that's helped me, and just resonating with people to where at least I was getting responses back for like, hey, I understand where you're coming from. I think you'd possibly be a good fit, but it's not a good fit at this point. At least people were getting back to me.
Totally.
And then I remember like the first time, like, holy shit, actually someone responded back. They said no, but they actually responded back to me, right? Yeah. So those are the moments of when being yourself, educating yourself on the customer, educating yourself on their business, and talk about them, because people don't want to hear about you. They want to know about how you can make their life easier, how you can make their life better, and what you can do for them, versus all these cool things that you do on a weekly basis. They don't give a shit.
Yeah. World class, industry leading, nobody cares.
Don't care. Awesome.
Yeah.
Would that be more expensive? Awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. What about this one? Actually, I was watching one of the clips of one of our things. This would be a good one, because when people start learning about all the stuff that we're talking about right now, like pre-call planning and doing this extra work, they go, oh, I don't have time to do all this kind of stuff. And it seems like a lot of work. How could you speak to just like the work that you need to put in to kind of making your life easier, and just I don't want to seed it too much, but kind of around that idea of like what kind of things that you've done to make it so that that things are going the way you want them to go?
Well, I think if people say that they don't have the time, I think you're in the wrong industry. Sales is not a 9-to-5 job. There's so many days where I'm bogged down by doing my day-to-day tasks, but I love what I do. So then I'll go home and I'll sit on my laptop and I'll do my pre-call planning for the day before. I know I got to reach out to XYZ tomorrow. Well, I'm going to take the 15 minutes or the hour, instead of watching, Naked and Afraid. I'll sit there and watch.
Is that your show, Naked and Afraid?
Yeah. It's one of the shows I like to watch. It's better than watching Say Yes to the Dress with the fiance. So, yeah. You got to make time. You got to find time. And if I guarantee you, a lot of people say they don't have enough time, but I guarantee you, when they go home after work, they're probably watching TV, doing something very unproductive to where, you know, when I go home most days, obviously, yeah, I'll go watch TV for a little bit, but then eventually I get bored and I hop on the laptop and I start doing my pre-call planning, start planning out my day. You know, I spend, you know, 3 Saturdays out of the week. I'm in on Saturdays to kind of figure out what I got going on, who I want to reach out to, and how I'm going to kind of attack that process. And eventually, like you said, the more you practice at it, the better you get at it. I can go on a website right now and usually within 5 to 10 minutes figure out 3 or 4 things that I want to talk about in my contact strategy.
Yeah.
So it's about when people say they don't have the time, it's you just don't want to make the time.
Yeah.
And I know, and especially like when you were talking about it, the more you practice, the more you get better at it, and the more you kind of start understanding it. And it's just like anything else. The more you practice, the easier it's going to get.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you've mentioned before, I know Cody and I have talked about this and you've mentioned it, is maybe talk about the idea of like just what you're saying there on the, when you're doing your sort of planning and your process, that you know, when you first started doing that, it took a lot more time, but now, like you said, you could do it on the fly. Maybe speak to sort of how that, you know, like you said, like talking about them doing that research. What does that look like for you on a day-to-day basis? If you're going to look at a client, how long does it take you now to kind of get into this really cool headspace and go and be effective versus what you used to do, which was smiling. When we first talked, you were smiling and dialing and be like, hey, you want to buy some stuff? You want to buy some stuff? Maybe talk about those sort of the dichotomy between those two things.
Well, the smile and dial is, I would just waste my time making 75 phone calls a day that there's no value and no content given to the prospect or the customer whatsoever.
Actually, you know what would be cool? Because I want to capture this. I want maybe talk, well, before you talk about that, say, you know, say what industry you're in and it's kind of what you're selling, because I think people, I'm thinking about this as a video that I want to post. People would love to hear that you're in an industry that is highly competitive, traditionally quite transactional. Maybe describe what that looks like and what you guys, how you guys are always in that mode of like the smiling dollar when you start, and the sort of the resistance to move into this kind of this new place because you still got to do volume, and what this change has looked like. So maybe tell that story a little bit, because I want to get this on video, because this is a good, your story is kick ass. So there you go.
So yeah, I work for a 3PL or a transportation brokerage, which obviously we manage anyone, you know, any mom and shops that moves product from point A to point B, or the Aldis of the world that are doing, you know, 50,000 shipments a year. We help them with their transportation process. And my industry is extremely, extremely competitive. It's actually the #1 employer of males between the ages of right out of college, which is 21, up to the ages of 45. So it's highly competitive. When you get out of college, you kind of get this industry. You're going to have these managers that are just pick up the phone, you know, have 2 phones, never stop calling. Don't worry about who you're talking to. Just, you know, just find the guy, just sell it, and consider it a numbers game. Yeah. Well, when I did that for the first 2 years, I wanted to shoot myself in the face, because it's just, they're not getting anywhere. You know, I would just come in and I'd make 100 phone calls a day, and I would just walk out completely crippled just because I felt like I got nowhere. Mm-hmm. Where I wasn't even, you know, I would make 100 phone calls and I would maybe talk to one person that I need to talk to. I would make 500 phone calls in a week, and out of a week I would talk to like 3 people, and it would be a quick, no, I'm not interested, hang up the phone. So then kind of when I came across your podcast, and, you know, we started talking about, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. Yeah. And it just kind of resonated with me, right? There has to be a better way. There has to be a more efficient way to do this. So when I finally took the time to learn about the industry, to learn about the companies I was going after, to learn about what their roles were, and actually, you know, cut my volume into 1/3, where I would make 40 phone calls and 40 emails a day, but it was actually quality that I was giving them. All of a sudden now I'm talking to 20 to 30 people a week versus the 3 to 4 people a week that just wanted to hang up the phone on me. And I'm actually having quality conversations, talking about their business, talking about areas where they need help, where, you know, I'd have customers that would, before, you know, I was called in for 3 years beforehand, and all of a sudden I changed my process into it, and all of a sudden within a week they're replying back to me, hey, let's set up a call. Does this work good for you? You know, it's changing the whole smiling and dialing to going to actually putting some quality information into it. It significantly changed my approach and changed my whole sales process, my sales game. I was a struggling sales rep to where now I'm the #1 sales rep for the past 2 years, and I significantly think that is a huge reason to why the things kind of flipped around for me.
Cool, man. And how does it, and that's, your story's so awesome because I mean, that's a tough one that I see a lot of people struggle with, is to move from a volume-based sales approach where it's like, if I don't call 5,000 people in the next 5 minutes, then I'm not going to get that one sale, to, you know, I'm going to spend a few minutes, I'm going to do some research, even though I should be making that call. It's very counterintuitive, but how has that kind of changed the kind of the time that you put into and who you need to be for your clients, and what has that done for your workload in terms of effectiveness and use of your time?
I'm not so stressed out. That's number one. It's just my stress levels are from where I'm like about leaving this industry that I spent so much time to kind of craft, and then I'm thinking about leaving this industry to where now I couldn't see myself doing anything else. Mm-hmm. It's just the stress level. Number one, it's when you're just dialing away and not having any content, you feel like you're a robot. Now I'm actually like learning stuff. I'm having educated conversations with people. Even the times that I can't help customers, I'm able to refer them to other people to where, you know, I'm building quality relationships that are going to help me down the line, that have already kind of helped me like down the line as of now. And that's just the biggest thing for me, is the stress. And if I come to work every day and I'm excited to start working again, where I was used to dread coming into work. Yeah. And the biggest thing is just, it's my workload. I feel it's still the same workload, but it's enjoyable. Like I enjoy doing it. Where I'm not, I know that I have to reach out to 40 people a day versus where I have to make 100 phone calls. At least I know now I'm making 40 quality reaches and I'm going to have some actual opportunity of it, versus where I might just get lucky and call someone who needed help with a load that day. They couldn't get it moved, to where now I'm actually having, you know, conversations about millions of dollars in revenue, where I'm bringing customers, not just doing transportation, we're doing warehousing, we're doing special projects for them, where we're completely controlling the transportation for their whole company. I was just doing transactional loads for them. So it's completely revolutionized what I've been doing in the transportation world, at least in my world.
Yeah. And it sounds like, I mean, that's so cool. And it sounds like, you know, even from a mindset perspective, that you're feeling valued too, because you're having higher level conversations with your customers, and they're looking at you as a resource for their business, not just some sales guy, right?
Yeah, it's exactly. You're a resource. You know, I get calls from people that I haven't done business with in weeks or in months, but they'll call me to kind of, hey, this market's insane. What's going on with it? Or, you know, what kind of trends are you seeing? How do you see, you know, Q4 being? How do you see Q2 going on? Do you think this whole ELD thing is going to, right now we have this huge regulation with these electronic logs that are really crippling kind of the transportation industry and how it used to work. You used to be able to kind of, legally, you're only allowed to drive for 10 hours. And they would used to, as of like 3 months ago to the history, all they would have to do is record that information into a book. So you can kind of cook your books to where it would allow you to drive a little bit longer and you could get to a shipper and you didn't have to worry about being stuck in traffic, to where now we have these mandates by the government where it's an electronic log hooked up into the computer system of the trailer or the truck. And once this driver hits 10 hours, the truck automatically shuts down. Wow. So it's kind of a huge, massive effect on pricing, on capacity,
for sure,
market. And customers are kind of panicking, and they're just looking for every bit of information that you could possibly share with them. So, and it goes back to kind of what we talked about, is educating yourself on the industry as much as possible, and being where you create the value for them, where you're just not a transactional type of sale. I'm creating value for them. They want information from me, but then they're also going to give other opportunities. And then obviously, you know, word of mouth, you know, they're going to tell their coworkers, and then they're going to tell other people. So I think I just lost it.
What's that?
My computer's froze up.
Can you? I can still see it. My end's good. You know, the couple things on that. I mean, that's so cool. And just the sort of two things that sort of pop up in my head there around that is, one thing that you've done really, really well on is doing all this work, doing all this research, becoming that resource, but building your own personal brand within your organization. I'd like you maybe talk about that, and also kind of how that's, you know, you mentioned earlier, talking, you know, thinking long term. That you want to be here more than the next 6 months. You want to be here a year, 10 years, until you're 50, whatever. Even if you're looking at for the next couple of years, some of the stuff that you're doing right now, you're seeding the relationships for the next few years, which is going to make your life easier. But part of that is, again, building that personal brand and thinking long term. Maybe speak to sort of where your head's at around that, and how you're starting to see some of that stuff come come to fruition?
Well, my big thing was is like I never really, I was kind of younger, didn't necessarily want to. You always want to educate yourself in the industry, but you just don't necessarily know how to do about it. And I just took it one day at a time. I made it every day when I get to work. The first thing I do, no matter what, is I pull up an article in regards to the transportation market, and I read one article a day.
Nice.
And if you read one article a day, and you do that throughout 2 years, 3 years, that's 4, 5, 600 articles that you've read that you've had some quality knowledge about, and then eventually you're going to start reading more of them because you're just going to start getting more intrigued about the industry. So that has really kind of helped me with my education on the market itself. And then the personal branding, I think you got to have some type of personal branding, but it just can't be, you got to live it, right? Yeah. I always tell my customers I'm available 365 holidays, weekends, bar mitzvahs. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas. I will do whatever I can to help you. I give them my cell phone, and they know I'm always available 24/7. And I've had stories where I've had situations where I have to wake up at 3 a.m. and make phone calls and give customers updates. And they know that no matter when they send me an email, when they call me, if I don't answer right away, if I don't answer the email within 5 minutes, they're going to get a phone call 10 minutes later, or they're going to get a response within 15 minutes, or they're going to know that I am working on it. And I think that goes a long way with the personal branding of no matter whether the situation is, whether it can help you or I can't help you, I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm going to get you to the right people, or we're going to figure out a way to get through it together. And I'm going to be able to give you some type of tool to get through that personal situation. Because these people, when you're dealing with your customers, I had a customer a couple months ago call me in tears because she messed up on a shipment that was supposed to get picked up and delivered out for the end of the year. She was like in tears, pretty much saying that she was going to lose like her job. Wow. So I rallied the troops. I got our whole office together, and within a half an hour, we found her a truck, and I got a edible arrangement that she could probably drop like $80 on from her, and it was just little stuff like that to where you can help your customers out. So it's the personal branding. You have to live it and then truly believe in it. And what you do, I think it's easy to kind of live that life.
Yeah. And you know what I think is cool? Like, I love that story because it's, you're just also coming off the tail end of vacation. So, the funny part is like, anybody that might be listening to this and hearing your story, hearing like, oh man, you got to work weekends, you got to do all this stuff, you got to wake up at 3 a.m., all of these things, which we know, like that's part of, if you want to really establish that brand, it doesn't mean you're doing it every day. It means that your customers know that if they need something from you, they can get that. But I would imagine that most of them, because they treat you like on an equal as a partner, they're going to respect your time and they're going to come to you only when they really, really need you. Just the fact that they know they can get you is the biggest thing, so that when you do go on vacation now, you could switch off because you know that you've done everything you can to help your customers. And so, even I didn't know you were away on the holidays when I emailed you, and you responded to me pretty quickly, but I'm sure that you're respecting your own time, and your customers probably respect your time as well because you do serve them so well.
Well, I know the industry that we're in, freight never sleeps, and it's just a constant go, 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 go. And, I have customers that work around the clock, and I have customers that get a lot less vacation time than I do. And, and I know that we have that trust level to them. So, yeah, I was on vacation, but it's not that hard for me to pop up the laptop for a half an hour, skim through a few emails. We'll just skim through, a couple hundred emails real quick just to see what ones I need to reply back to, and just let them know that I'm honest for them. Like we built up that trust level. I feel like with you, right? I could have just easily got back to it when I, got to it back here on vacation, but we have that trust level where I know you do that for me, and I wanted to have the respect to where I get back to you to let you know we can get it when we're on vacation. And I think that goes a long way. That I had a lot of customers where my fiance was just going to get breakfast or going to the swimming bar or whatever. So I just pop open the laptop a little bit, answer a few emails, and I had more customers tell me to stop working and get back to me when I get back on vacation.
Yeah.
But at least they know that I'm always there, going to try to help them out, and that there's always, no matter whether I'm on vacation, I'm traveling on the road, they have a support staff that's going to be here to help them accomplish whatever they need. And I think that goes the longest way. Sure. They know that no matter what, there's always going to be somebody there.
And like I like that because it's not like you're a slave to this stuff, and that's kind of what I'm alluding to here is you're not a slave to this. You really like doing this and helping your customers, which is with the part that if anybody's thinking about what they need to do, is you really got to wrap your mind around, like, if this is like I've done that before where I'm doing videos or content or something, and I think, oh, this is the easier way I could do that. I'm like, I don't want to do all that extra work that's going to be another 2-3 hours, but I'm like, that one sort of user experience piece is what's going to help that other person solve their thing. not how do I make my life easier. And so that's what I think, your customers sense in you is this, like, like you're just there to help them make their lives easier, and they'll probably respect your time because of that. And you are more of a partner rather than this, this employee for them. You're somebody that's, like you're in it together long term, which is really cool, man.
Yeah, I'm in a very lucky situation where I get to wake up every day excited to come into work. And I don't want to ever lose that opportunity. So I'll do whatever I can to make sure that I hold on to that. And without the customers, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm in a very fortunate situation. So whatever I can do to help my customers grow their business or help them out of a jam or just make their lives easier, I'm going to go above and beyond to try to accomplish that, because once again, I'm living the dream. I wake up every day happy as hell because I get to come to a great office, great people, and get to work with amazing customers. So it's just it's an amazing situation to be in.
Well, and I'm gonna contradict you there, though. I don't think luck has nothing to do with it. You told me at the beginning of this that you're like, you used to get up, being like frustrated and not super happy about the smiling and dialing. You've created all of this like excitement yourself. You've got a great company, great team that you're working with, but you've stepped up and said, how do I make this way more fun? And you've been kicking some serious ass on that to go. And now it just feels lucky. And I think, what's funny is that when I work with high performers, that's one thing that always ends up happening is they do all this work and they're like, I feel guilty because this feels way too easy now. And you're like, I'm just lucky that you're like, no, you were working your butt off doing all the stuff other people wouldn't do. So you can get in this mode where you feel lucky. So that's kudos to you, man.
Well, yeah, just be humble. I'm humble. I'm humble.
Yeah.
I just know that any day there, you could have an account that all of a sudden they get bought by somebody or something. I don't control this. I don't own anything, right? I just work with people that can get bought out, can quit, and any day I can lose my biggest customer. So I just don't take any day for granted, and I'm humble, and I try to come in every single day and put the hard work in and out every day. And I think I'm in a very lucky, fortunate situation for all the hard work that I put myself into. But yeah, I guess you call it that.
Yeah, that's the mark of somebody who's really kicking some butt is they go, oh yeah, I'm just really lucky. You're not lucky, man. It feels lucky. You feel blessed, and you have the gratitude, all that shit. But you did it, so kudos, man.
Well, put it this way: the harder I work, the luckier I get.
That's it, man. That's 100%. Yeah, I don't believe in the secret, but there's I'm hustling every day. It's like, oh, it feels like a secret. It's like it's not a secret. But yeah. So I respect your time here. So last thing I want to just kind of ask you about is maybe any specific any numbers, like sort of like where what you were kind of doing before, and maybe some like things that you've done. Whether it's something specific that, a concept that we've worked on or something that we've done where you say, hey, I just applied this like one thing and that helped me move this number to this pretty easily. Because that's what I'm trying to help people wrap their mind around it. And for everybody, it might be different, but whether it's contact strategy or switching up email or switching up a mindset, something that maybe you've done that helped you get some numbers pretty quickly.
Well, I think the thing that really changed everything is that before me and you started talking, I was, that guy making 70 phone calls a day and, 70 to 100 phone calls a day. And I was doing, and we go by gross profit. And, I was doing, $20,000 a month in gross profit, which was, nothing, that's an average number. Right. And then when we started talking and I started really kind of understanding that I could be myself, have more you and because conversations, and really kind of do my future self a favor by making a contact strategy, putting in some templates, getting some ideas down, taking the time and put some quality information down on some templates, and do that pre-call planning, and then actually going forth and doing those things and testing things. I went from doing 70 to 100 phone calls to 30 to 40 phone calls with emails included in there. To where now I'm doing, I was doing 20 grand in the beginning, and now I'm doing anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000. Like I just had my best month a couple months ago where I did 89,000, GP, which is just, but yet I'm doing half the volume.
Yeah.
I'm doing volume of the phone calls, half the volume of the emails, but it's actually quality content that I'm putting forth to customers and I'm talking about them. So I think if you can really change your mindset in regards to talk more about how you can help your customers, talk more about you, and because it's going to have a huge change in everything. and just be yourself. Make it fun. Once you get to be fun and you're confident in your own abilities, it's amazing what you can accomplish.
My man, that's so cool, brother. High five, congrats on that.
There you go, Joe. I appreciate it. Sir. Hey, trust me. Anyone tells me that I'm looking for someone to help out with, and before they can even finish the sentence, I have your information in their hands. So
love it. I appreciate that. That's so cool. And you know what I like just hearing from your story too is like also, not only are you doing, like less volume, like you're doing more, effective work, higher results, higher profit, but also you're seeding these relationships long-term. Like I know that you've told me that you're talking to these guys in your relationships with your customers. It's way less transactional and more like, let's start with something and grow into it. So not only are you doing the volume in less time for your results, but you're setting the stage for long-term where you just show up and people are like, here's my money. So I'm excited to see sort of that next evolution for what's going to happen with your accounts and your clients, because they're going to want to keep doing business with you and do more business with you. So that's where I think it's exciting. I want to hear that next story. So that'll be another video we do in maybe a year or so here. You'll be like, oh my God, now you're really going to feel guilty.
I had a customer that closed for 2+ years because I used to ship out of their facility for another customer of mine.
So you had a client?
I had this customer or this prospect I've been trying to close for 2+ years.
Yeah.
I picked up out of their facility for another customer of mine, and this woman, her name is Tara Jackson, and everyone I talked to dozens of people in the company. They said she's never going to call you. Just send your email and she'll get back to you. And I finally put one of our quality emails together back in August of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last month, at the end of the month, she finally replied back to me on my email. On that email I sent August of 2017.
Yeah.
Say, hey, you finally got your shot. Here's you go. So it's like, if you put the quality together, she actually saved the email, which was like, holy.
I love it. Now, give me the sense of what the email was in it, because anybody that's watching, because we switched them all up. But what was the crux of it? Give me.
Well, it was the whole email of like why I'm reaching out to him. It's the whole you and because. So I told him like, I'm reaching out to you because you're an ideal type of customer looking to work with. They're in the paper industry. They have a couple of facilities in the Midwest, like Green Bay, Wisconsin. They have another facility in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which are some ideal markets for us. And then I kind of related to them that, we worked a lot with paper manufacturers and companies that are in the paper industry, such as like WestRock. And I threw a few companies out there. And then I started to talk about their business, how I know you have locations here, here, and here. I know you guys are making all these different types of products. You guys are delivering a lot of retail, grocery stores that are late receiving hours. We have the carrier base for them. And I just think we'd be, a great fit based on what you're currently doing and how we currently operate. And, it was August of 2017, so however many months ago that she reached out to me, the middle of last month. So the middle of May. No, middle of March. So it was just some quality content. She actually, for once, I was just surprised that she actually replied back to an email that was almost 5, 6, 7 months old.
Yeah.
I was kind of blown away by it.
Why do you think she reached out to you? What do you think is happening?
Well, I've sent her, I'm not even kidding you, probably 30 emails, and I've left her 40, 50 voicemails over the years. And I just think it was the quality of the email that talked about her business, talked about what they're doing in her business and how we can help their business in areas that I know other people in her industry kind of struggle with. And we have the background with that particular product, and we're delivering into your vendor or your customers already. And there was just a lot of synergies there. I understood her business, talked about how we could help them out. And I think that's why she finally saved it. And we finally got an opportunity. Okay.
Well, I'm going to add something to it, because here's what I think happens. And in fact, I know this shit happens. Is that you have been, for the most part, I would imagine, for the last few years, been really consistent in the messaging that you've been giving her, right? So she gets a sense of who you are. The email that you sent, it probably was awesome, and it really helped them, because now she's like, oh, this is how he thinks about our business. Good for him. And so, whether it's like directly or indirectly, she's looking at, this is who you are and how you kind of fit into her world. Something has happened in her business recently where now you step back. Just like if you're going to hire a new staff member, the first question you go is, who do I know? Right? And then you go, well, wait, who do you know? And so what's probably happened in her business, and I want you to go try and see if you can figure this out as you guys build this out, is something's happened in her business. And she goes, well, who do we have on our team that can solve that? And they go, well, wait, you know what? She's like, who do I want on my team is that Tim guy. That guy's actually talking like somebody that I'd want as part of my team. That's why you've got your shot, because she's already visualizing you working with her and her team to solve something that's probably just happened. That's most likely what's happened, because they need to execute on something within their business, and they ask themselves, well, who can do it here? They go, well, wait, who do we know out there that can help us solve this? And your name probably was first on her list.
It's funny you said it, because it was huge. It was like a 40 project shipment going to some really remote areas where they were really struggling with. So yeah, you're probably spot on with it. Actually, it makes sense that you're kind of saying that.
Yeah. So now what I want you to think about is, as you're doing all of your outreach and stuff, that personal branding becomes really, really powerful, because you can then go and say, okay, well, who do I need to be to best serve these guys as part of their team? So now when you're sending them emails, sending them stuff, just think about like you're their VP of shipping or whatever your role is, and be like, hey guys, here's what I'm thinking. Have you guys looked at this? Here's an idea. You might want to check this out. Here's something that we could do. Let me know when you're ready to talk. And you do that over the course of a little while. As soon as something goes on where maybe one of their vendors craps out, or they have a big new project in their business, or something goes on, they look internally and say, who can do this? But most likely they're going to say, no, I got a guy. Even if they've never talked to you, they go, I got a guy that can solve this for us. Let me call him. And you get a random call, and that's that long-term seeding that you've been doing. And so I just want you to think like that as you're sending this stuff out. I'm just going to have this one-way dialogue with you as an integral part of your team until you're ready to just put me to work.
Yeah, no, you're probably spot on with that. When I got the email, I almost flipped my desk over. It was awesome.
In your face, everybody. I got her, right?
Well, it's like, you work on something for so long, and you finally get that opportunity. And it's just, that is another reason why I love doing what I do.
Good for you, man. Well, that's exciting. I'll let you go on that. That's I'm stoked for you. That's really cool. And thank you for taking the time to go through this. And I'm going to edit this out and put some cool stuff. But maybe if you have one more piece, one thing that you'd say, why do you like working with me? Why am I the guy you like working with? Just like in a quick 30 seconds.
I think it's the wrong question, but what reason do I not have to enjoy working with you, Joe? It's just I laugh my ass off. You give amazing content. You truly want to help people. What you have done for my business and for my life, I can't even thank you enough. So that's 100% why I would want to work with you, and why I would tell everyone looking for a new coach to reach out to you. You're absolutely amazing.
Cool, brother. Well, cheers to that. Pound it. Boom.
All right, Joe.
Get back to work. Welcome back from vacation. Go take over the world.
You got it, man. If you need anything else, let me know.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Later.
Bye. Hey, this is Joe Girard with Change Grow Achieve. Thanks for checking this out. Remember to subscribe and check out some of the other videos and resources we have. You know, as a sales coach, I spend a lot of my time just helping people be less weird and more human with their customers. If we can help you and your high-performing team, reach out to us, let us know, and let's connect soon.